Welcome back to the Schwartz Art. My name is Mike Schwartz, and this is my video journey through the Inktober prompts. I'm trying to create a coloring book over the 31 days of October. Today's prompt is deer. When I was thumbnailing this piece, I had already a really solid concept of what I wanted it to be. The prompt for a crown, I created a little wanted poster, and I had that reward for collecting the stag, the magical stag. And so I already knew I wanted to have this magical stag on some kind of ruin or some kind of, let's say, Stonehenge space. I'd recently been listening to the audiobooks from the Rhaenyra Revelations. One of them is called Rise of Empire, and in that book, one of the characters stumbles upon a space like this and learns some new cool abilities. So I took that inspiration and built my own ruins here. I like to think that the lizard wizard is the one that kind of gets everybody in trouble, that he chooses the quests and they just follow along, and when they go into each space he kind of finds out that, oh, we're in over our head. And I like to think about that with his derpy eyes and fun little cloak and stuff, and I feel like he's the instigator of the group. In this piece, I wanted to make it look like our adventurers were sneaking up on the magical stag, hiding behind the rocks in the ruin at midnight with the full moon. And just before they all jump out to surprise the enemy, the rogue jumps the gun and leaps over the top and ends up scaring the stag off, and they don't actually capture it. I think this is going to set them into their adventure. Let's pretend that these are warp stones or something, and when they all jump into the middle and the stag disappears, that sends them on their current adventure. And then they're going to spend the rest of the journey trying to get back. And maybe they'll find some treasure on the way and defeat some cool bad guy bosses. Kind of had fun making these runes. I was thinking smiley faces, I was thinking Minecraft shapes. One of my boys had been talking about that, so I went for it, and I think it turned out real nice. The simplicity of it works really good. This is also the first time that I used kind of the squinting eyes. I don't know how many major facial features I'm going to add to this, but I'm not going to do any mouths for a lot of the cutesy characters. I think that the lizard will be the one. He's been drawn with the mouth, and I have plans for his tongue to capture more enemies or eat more things. So I think that's just kind of a fun feature, but the other two characters, I think I'm going to keep them relatively plain in the face. I really like creating the the stitches and the plates and things for this character on the fighter here. I'm trying to think about how many lines do I actually need to communicate what that character is wearing and what their what the feel of the fabric is, and that kind of, it's a fun challenge to create. I like my little rogue here. He's jumping off. I like action poses, and so getting dynamic action poses is something that is very pleasing for me to create. I do know that I'm going to have to restrain myself because I typically like very extreme, fun camera angles that create stretched and exaggerated scenes. So this right here is me holding back and trying to be very simple and deliberate with my shapes and my aesthetic. And I figure if I can just be disciplined and do that, a very cohesive 31 pages at the end, that will make a nice coloring book. As you can see, I also no pencil work on this one. I drew this one out away from my desk and kind of draw them over breaks and things, and then when I get home I'm able to sit down and record the inking process. But I got really fast at the pencil work on this one. I think I did it in half an hour, and so I'm feeling pretty confident that I'll be able to just come home from work, sit down, and do a full page here in the next couple of days. And I'm interested to see how that video looks, because watching it from beginning to end is really fun. I watch other people's stuff, and to watch it transform from just scribbles out into the whole piece of artwork is very, very satisfying. I'm drawing in our magical stag here. Thought maybe I'd put him in a stone ring, as if he's summoned by the full moon, and maybe the date. I don't know, come up with some weird magical property for that. And when they all go to get him, instead of them capturing the stag, they get teleported to another part of the world and have to make their way home. And so that's how their misadventure will start. I like these little Luna moths flying around. This whole scene, I feel like it takes place at night. I intended it to be a night scene with a full moon and clouds and lots of lighting effects. We have our glow effect from our mage, and I expect that the stag would be glowing, and even the runes and the stones should be glowing. So there could be some really fun things to do with markers or even colored pencils on this one to create atmosphere even within the simplistic design of these characters. Thanks for watching this far. I definitely ask that it would be very helpful if you guys would be willing to subscribe to my channel or like the video or share it. It's always good to share the things that you like with your friends so you can talk about it and learn more about the people around you. Just the simple act of sharing a YouTube channel that you like can go a long way. I like how these clouds came out wispy and swirly and curvy. I think there's some really good potential there to create depth within the shapes. Time to do the thick outlining and separate our characters and objects from each other. Again, this is a 12-bit Micron marker. I'm using the 8, 10, and 12. These are quite a bit thicker than ones I normally use. Normally I'll use the really tiny suckers and do a lot of cross-hatching and blackout. But in this instance, I don't want to have any shadows of any kind, and I just want to have really clean line art. This is a 9x12 Bristol board that I've created an 8x8 drawing space on. keep up the pace. Drawing and creating the videos is pretty daunting. So I'm thinking that come, let's call it this weekend, I'll be able to get a bunch of the drawings done and maybe record instead of doing them exactly on the day. It's just a little bit too much. And I make them a point that I actually back off of the YouTube videos and do maybe one a week and talk about how the week went instead of how each day went. But I think it'd be cool to have a video for every drawing. Well, thanks again for watching. Sorry about the earthquake coming. I'm going to start erasing here shortly. It'll shake the camera up. Maybe it'll become my tradition for the ending of each video, the shake up while I clean up the pencil marks. Gummy erasers are wonderful, magical pieces and tools, so I highly recommend picking them up. And they're squishy and therapeutic too. They're like Play-Doh.